I'm not being negative now, I'm just being realistic. This is kicking my ass. This is really going into the bowels and depths of this town and this neighborhood. Oh, we got a big change here. We have a big change and something up above. This went from bad to worse. I don't know what I got myself into. As of right now, I have no way out of here. You're not gonna believe what we're under. I did not see that coming. Oh, hopefully you could hear me and see me, but this location was shared with me by an insider. And it goes directly beneath the roadway and under a neighborhood. Directly above us is a couple of parked cars, traffic, sidewalk, and homes on the other side of the street. But I severely underestimated this location. But I'm gonna do it, even though I'm not prepared for it. I'm here to make the most of it. If you wanna see what I have to go through, find out where it goes, you know what to do. Just come along with me. Currently walking through the wash area, following the path the water takes. Hasn't rained significantly in a few days, but there's some standing water here. And a pipe that has seen better days. Looks like it has a sleeve on it, which is not holding up the greatest. I don't know if this is even functional anymore, but it goes right underneath that wall. But the direction we're going is straight ahead. Water's on the cooler side, not terrible. It's also not extremely warm today. It's right now around 78. Medium humidity, but I'm anticipating where we're heading to be a lot more humid and a sweaty exploration. It's kind of smelly down here too. I think it's from the stagnant water, which I'm kind of forced to walk through, but it is all part of the experience. We have reached our location, which I am definitely not prepared for. I severely underestimated this one. So obviously we came from that direction, following the wash area, the wall. Got a 1940 stamping there, which is helpful. And then we have this. Well, this doesn't look all that enticing, but the good news is, I'll show you, is once you're in there, it opens up. So I need to literally belly crawl through there, and I am not dressed appropriately to do that. I don't have knee pads with me. I don't have long pants. I misunderstood the inside tip I received at this location. I was under the impression it was a stone, either box or oval culvert that you could literally walk right into. That is far from what we have here. So I'm not gonna turn around and say, this is too difficult. This is what I came for. I am without a doubt gonna get muddy and messy and dirty and maybe even ruin some of my clothes. I wish I even had gloves with me too, because the ground is just, ugh. So I'm gonna get geared up. I got my headlamp. I got a handheld flashlight. You guys are mic'd up. I switch you guys into a low light mode. And then we're going to not even descend or ascend, just enter into what I'm calling a not really favorable entrance, but I've been through worse before, so we're gonna do it. All right, we are gonna attempt to do this together. I had to literally belly crawl my way through, as it's severely blocked up with sediment. It should be, about 3 or 4 feet deeper than what it is. There's a pretty bad jam here with a tree and other types of debris and sediment. There's bugs crawling on the ground. I'm laying on top of them. You can kind of see that's the bottom down there. It is deeper. Just not where I am. Hopefully you're not getting a cleavage shot. So I got this jam here. I'm gonna crawl over that. And then it does continue. I will be hunched over, but I won't be crawling at least. I don't know how far it goes. Don't know if it opens up or pinches out. But there's only one way to find out. I do have an air meter with me too, so once I get down here, I'm going to turn it on. Make sure we have good quality air, because right now it feels a bit stagnant. I literally am going head first over this. Holy cow. I really don't want to go through that again. If this opens up somewhere else, I don't care if it's 2 miles away. I'm going out that way. Gonna gain my breath, my composure, get the air meter on, and we'll press ahead. And right now we have 20.2 oxygen, everything else is 0, so that's a good sign. I just found two right here. A handle for a valve. I'm not sure if it's going to come through on camera. Let me see if I can light it up better. So if you could see that. Looks like a valve handle. Just laying here. And some big spiders and cave crickets. As long as we don't see any snakes, I am perfectly fine with these critters. And as anticipated, it's sweaty. It's humid. And I am beyond filthy. Hopefully it's for good reason. So let's keep going. So as anticipated, this is a stone culvert, obviously. No doubt about that. Here though, where we are, it's maybe 3 feet high. I'm crouching down in like a catcher's position right now. Looks like that big slab's on top. With that one right there where I'm pointing at, almost looks like, oh my goodness, wait, you see the size of the spider, hang on. I don't know if this is a spider or a cave cricket. This thing is humongous. It's gotta be the biggest cave cricket I've ever seen. Holy cow. That thing is fat and juicy and has long legs. Anyways, what I was saying right here, it looks like quartz almost. Oh yeah, he's crawling my way. So I'm going to get past all this to where we can get down there straightaway around the bend and proceed from there. What I wouldn't do right now to have my knee pads with me. The backpack's not helping because it's raising the height of my back as I'm hunched over. I'm literally crouched over, crawling hands and knees on this unforgiving floor. But thankfully, there's not as much debris down here, so I have a little bit more room. And I know I'm breathing heavily. I do apologize. Me, when I'm crunched over, being the size I am, puts a lot of pressure on my lungs. It takes a lot out of me. So I'm not used to doing this. I haven't done this type of thing in many, many years. When I did it regularly, well, that was a different story. I was used to doing it when I was younger. A little bit slower today, but we're still going to do it. I'm literally sitting right now on the floor of the culvert entrance. You can see the daylight, I think, back there. We're heading that direction, but I wanted to sit here for a moment of silence because you can actually hear the traffic faintly. Hopefully it comes through on the mic. I could definitely hear it though. And I do hear water dripping back there. Behind you guys, it goes at about a 45-degree angle to the right. Two or three cars went over. You may or may not have heard them. You may have heard my heartbeat instead. But yeah, I could hear them clear as day. I could actually hear like them going over something like clunk, clunk. Alrighty, we've made some progress. Not a lot, but enough to bring you back to show you what's going on. So above my head, slipping. Above my head nearly the entire way are these guys. Some of the biggest cave crickets I've ever seen. Daylight is down there. We passed one, but here's a second drainage pipe, smaller, emptying into a larger one. But we're now at the 45-degree turn. Here, looks like cinder block or old concrete. And behind me, as I spin you around, well, you're gonna see it looks significantly different. It almost looks like a chamber in a mine. This goes for quite a ways. And on top of that, we have another chamber right there, which that might be my exit. I see a bit more daylight there than where we came in. Maybe there's a chance I came through the wrong entrance. But that is also going out pretty much the same location where we came from, only maybe about 10 to 20 feet apart from each other. To say this is exhausting is an understatement. I don't mean to keep stopping and talking to you guys, but I know many of you watching do like to kind of be in the moment with me to understand how it feels. Granted, I could call this out, just give you brief highlights, but that takes away from the experience and the journey. But I am really feeling it. My legs are on fire from crouching, squatting. I'm sitting on the floor once again just to kind of give them a break, stretch them out. So we have passage 2, fork on the left on the way back, and that is where we came from. Down there, we are sloping downwards, then it flattens out. Looks like it's all concrete down here. So I don't know if this is cinder block, it might be. It has like a stucco cinder block feel to it. And look, although I can't see the exact or actual blocks. Looks like a stucco cinder concrete coating over stone. Right hand side though is definitely concrete, and overhead is also concrete. And if you hear, there's a pretty good echo. Echo! Yeah, it travels pretty good. Echo's good. It means it's solid. If it was absorbing my voice, well, that means structurally it could be compromised. But enough me yapping. Legs are feeling better. Let's continue down the slope. Oh, look what we have here. A nice juicy spider and daylight up ahead. There's an opening up there. Looks like a drain. So now here it's flattened out. Excuse me, a little gassy. It's really damp down here. I'm sitting on wet stones as the flooring. As far as I could tell, this flooring was placed here by man. It's all hand-laid stone. And I have it so that I'm out of breath. It slows down the flow of water. It's not a smooth surface where these little riffles will kind of help tame the speed. But it goes from concrete back to stone. And as far as my light's shining, I can't see the end. But we are definitely under homes and a neighborhood right now, without a doubt. I have a bit of a dilemma. I kind of want to ditch the backpack because I feel like it's slowing me down. It keeps rubbing off the top. But I have my air meter hooked to it, which I could detach it and put it on me. It's not a problem, but I just don't know if I can be returning the same way. But the good news is that air quality is increasing. It's now 20.7. So it's getting better. Although it still feels stagnant, I don't feel a breeze. The meter says it's good. Nothing else is showing up as far as H2S or anything like that. So at least we have that working in our favor. I honestly would make a lot more ground leaving the backpack, but if I end up finding another way out, well, I don't want to backtrack all the way. So I think I'm just gonna have to rough it, keep it on me. It's causing my back to sweat profusely, and I'm hitting the back off the top nearly every other footstep. But I'd rather make a smart decision than a foolish one. This is a rough one. I'm typically not a negative person. I'm not being negative now, I'm just being realistic. This is kicking my ass. It's a whole combination of things. Part of it's my fault for not being prepared and assuming it was a different type of passageway. But with that being said, going 8 to 10 years ago, I was crawling through mines, tunnels, caves, crawl spaces, crawling on my belly. Never gave it a second thought, and I did it with relative ease. Granted, I got out of breath, but I recovered pretty quickly, and I did it regularly, at least once a month. And although I have been in mines since, typically I try to go in ones that I'm able to stand up in. This is my least favorite position to have to be in for an extended amount of time, is either crouching down because my knees are not the best, or just hunched over, which compresses my lungs. It's just a recipe for disaster. And I'm forced to sit down, catch my breath, stretch my legs out more frequently than I'd want to. So right here, there's a little cutout, little maybe 3-inch diameter pipe coming out, stone above it. There is some rebar up here that's rusted. It's actually like breaking off with my backpack as I'm rubbing across it. So the concrete's being eroded away, showing the rebar. Sides are stone, floor is stone. And as far as I could tell, we're gonna make now a 45-degree angle to the left. No signal, can't see where I am, but I do know the general direction we went was under neighborhoods, which also borders a state school. So regardless, this is still a fascinating exploration. I'm thankful for the person that did share with me for the inside tip, but for one reason or another, I anticipated it to be something I could walk through standing up. And typically, that's what I try to look for as far as places to explore. I know of a lot of culverts and tunnels and other places that I could go to, but I just don't like these conditions. I'm not claustrophobic by any means. I'd rather be down here than up high. But crawling and hunched over, not fun. The only thing that would make this tolerable is if I brought my knee pads and a pair of gloves. You know, I could crawl through relatively pain-free and might have a better experience. But again, that's on me, that's my fault. Was not prepared. I probably should start bringing them in the car just in case. But that's where I'm at right now. I don't know where the end is. All I do is hope is, fingers crossed, it comes out somewhere else. I don't have to go all the way back, because I will just probably break down and cry at that point. I'm like, no. Well, good news and some interesting news. I'm farther down from the last clip. Sat down and was checking my air meter, and it was showing 20.6. Next thing I know, it's dropping below 19.5. The alarm went off. I'm like, oh crap, what's going on? Well, this is what I did. Breathing on it. And I set it off like that. So it is functioning, but I do have some better news. So we just came from that direction. I do feel slight airflow coming from that direction, maybe 2-3 miles per hour breeze. But when I look this way, I see a corridor passageway that I can stand up in. That's the best sight I've seen since I've been down here. Between here and there, feels like a mile away. It's literally 30, 35 feet away, but it looks like it has a higher roof. And if I could stand up, I'm gonna be a very, very happy individual, because I'm taking a beating right now. I'm gonna be so sore. I'm gonna be popping Advil like M&Ms. Almost there, almost there, almost there. Oh, Oh my God. I can stand up. I feel like I just won the lottery. Whew. My goodness, what a feeling. What a sight though. Look at this. This is what I call a passageway. About 8-foot tall roof, completely arched. Oh, this is what I've been waiting for. And I just found that. CB Kinsley Contractor. And if you look too, almost looks like we're beneath a set of steps. So, came from there, and it's just a slope going up of concrete. Stone here, meeting new concrete. And this is all concrete except for the floor, which is just dirt and pebbles. But I can't tell you how relieved I am. If it stays like this, it's worth the effort. And another thing too is that I was anticipating this to happen because typically culverts, where they empty out at, it's larger than where the water enters. So typically it's a smaller portal, larger opening or discharge area. Let's hope it stays true, but this is extremely, extremely good news. Just to give you a sense of scale too, maybe in 5'11", you know, my arms could fit probably two of me side by side, pretty snug, but the roof is definitely plenty tall. I'm also seeing too, so it looks like the walls were poured first, and this roof or curve was poured on top of it. There's a clear definitive line here. Now I don't know if they would have had precast molds and brought the molds down here and poured it, or if they poured it outside and brought them in, or was this done from the surface, brought down and covered on top. Answers I do not have, but things that are going through my mind. But this is such good news that this is like this. You know, I'm thinking the direction this is going, there's a decent likelihood this might go all the way down to, I think it would be the Lackawanna River. Oh, we got a big change here. We have a big, big change and something up above. We just came from that direction and came down to a brick circular manhole cover entrance. Has old steel ladder rungs which are rusted. I wouldn't even put my camera on them, never mind my body weight. And that shows we're approximately maybe 12, 15 feet below the surface. And then where we're heading, down here, the wall kind of looks bowed out. Looks like it's like is it convex? Where it's like bowing inwards. Floor is concrete and stone. Oh, look at it. That looks like wood from a form that was here. I can see grains of wood in the concrete. That might have been a wood form or a brace or something for the concrete mold. And then down here, the lower half is back to stone, upper half concrete, maybe even cinder blocks, but I do see lines throughout. So regardless of what it is, you're able to see it. Yeah, look at, there's more wood. That was for the mold of the concrete. Or who knew, other than the people who've been down here, that this opens up like this. Now I was anticipating a passageway, and then when I saw the entrance, I'm like, boy, this is like really disappointing. This certainly makes up for it. Everything I went through right now has led to this point, and I am so thankful and relieved. Left hand bend. Oh no. Oh no. Please don't say, oh, the roof is dropping back down. Darn it. I thought for certain it was going to stay like this or open up even bigger. So as you can see, the roof is sloping downwards, almost like a ramp. And we're gonna be forced to hunch over once again. It doesn't look as low as the other one. So it's maybe 6 to 12 inches higher. Let me make some headway. We'll continue on ahead. Don't really have good news. We came from back there. I've been hunched over about 50 feet. And yeah, it is slightly higher. I'm not rubbing my back off of it. But it's still, you can hear it in my breath now. It's starting to affect me again. And where we're going, it just seems like the point of no return because it is just sloping downwards. Roof is not getting any taller. And that goes for probably close to 100 feet that I could see. This is really going into the bowels and depths of this town and this neighborhood. I'm almost determined that I have to get to the end to find out where it comes out because I truly don't know how far we've gone. It feels like well over a mile, but I know we made a lot of slow progress, so it's just really time consuming. This is really slowing me down. The tall point where I can stand up, really much more easier to navigate, but enough of me complaining about the negative conditions. There's only one direction to go. Just came across that pole right there, a pipe. Glad I stopped because there is a hole here. There's some pretty good undermining going on beneath me here where that right there is all water. Step through that, you can easily twist an ankle, cut your leg open, and that's water too. I wish I had something to toss into it, but standing over right now, you can see the gloss of the glare. And I'm afraid to even step on this because it could just break right through. But that is an area that is definitely structurally compromised. Yeah, I'm gonna actually step right in it. That's a good foot deep right there. I know you can't see anything, but I got a really unexpected surprise. I was walking down past the pipe in those puddles, felt a blast of warm air. I'm like, where's that coming from? There's daylight. There's an outside right there. So we're not too far beneath the surface right now as far as I can tell. And we have a 45-degree bend up here, or curve. I see more daylight up ahead. It's getting warmer too. We have to be nearing the end. Yeah, there's a break. There's daylight right there. We went from about 10 to 15 feet beneath the surface to maybe only a few inches now. That's not supposed to be open though. It is worn away, deteriorated. I'm like between a rock and a hard place. I'm stubborn, so I don't want to turn around. Especially if I could get out and stay above surface to get back to where I started. But I know if it gets too cramped, I have my limitations, both physically and just energy-wise. My knees are definitely roughed up from crawling on my hands and knees. Taking a lot out of me, but the unknown, the curiosity element is what keeps pushing me because you never know what's around the next bend. The way it looks ahead though, we may not finish it. Stay tuned to see what's going to happen next. This is what I was afraid of. We're now at the next daylight opening, which is a manhole cover, literally only 5 feet up, if that. I probably could get out there if I had to. I don't know if I could pry that open myself or if it's like locked on top or sealed with asphalt. But down here is what really has me bummed. That is much more cramped than I was even dealing with before. That is a really low roof. There is maybe 3.5 feet of clearance from the floor to the roof. It's a nice brick bottom, but I don't want to crawl on that. It's going to hurt like hell. hunching over, it's going to really wipe me out with my lungs, plus my backpack rubbing, which I'm probably going to have to take it off if I do proceed. But what I'm wondering is it going to continue like this and only get smaller, or will it open up again? I'm by no means an expert when it comes to culverts and their construction. I can only go based off of experience of exploring them for a number of years. I do consider myself proficient, but not an expert, especially with the construction elements. But I do know, more often than not, it always starts off smaller and gets larger where the water empties out. It's just typically how they are constructed, how they work. This one is unique. Not necessarily in a good way because of the low roofs, but it started off small due to a plug up, opened up a little bit, but we were hunched over, and then it got wider, but still low, and then a tall, narrow corridor or passageway. And then we came back to what we just came through, and now it's low again. So this is like a mixed bag of different construction elements. And I am thoroughly impressed with the distance of it and also how well it's holding up. I've also been in some culverts that are really dilapidated or really need addressing because of collapse, loose tops or walls, and it's going to end up compromising the entire integrity of the culvert. We're here. I mean, I haven't come across hardly any loose rocks on the floor. The only thing we've come across bad, which is not terrible, is just those undermined areas with water. Beyond that, this was constructed with skilled men and laborers. It's done the right way. Boy, if I had like a skateboard or something with like rubber wheels to lay on and roll through here, that'd be fantastic. So I determined I'm gonna press ahead through this section here. I have my backpack off. I'm gonna carry it, give myself a little bit more clearance, even though it's still gonna be brutal. It is starting to stink down here, but air quality is 20.9. Everything else is 0. So, although I do smell like sewer, it's not enough to register on the meter. Once I make it through here, I'm not gonna film it because I know it's gonna wear me out physically and with my air capacity. If it gets smaller than this, I have no choice but to turn around. If it does open up, well, that's our sign to continue. So the next part here is going to dictate if we're going to be going back to everything we just came through, or if we could possibly make it all the way to the end and get out into daylight, back out into the real world. So next clip you're going to see most likely is going to be that determination. Unless I find something outstanding worth showing you, this next part is pretty critical for me determining what my plans are going to be. Stay tuned once again. Oh no. This went from bad to worse. I don't know what I got myself into. I almost feel like I'm trapped down here. Because either direction I go is not a good one. We need to talk. I thought crawling through that brick section was going to determine if I keep going or not. I kept going, but not much further, because down here, although I'm not as hunched over right here, there's a metal corrugated roof. There's a pretty big blockage down here of debris. Now I could crawl over it, that's not the problem. The problem is that it then turns into a corrugated plastic pipe. And it is big enough for me to hunch over and go through. My concern though, if I go through that, is it gonna get smaller and smaller, the opposite of what I'd be expecting. I can hear traffic. I know we're not far beneath the surface. But as of right now, I have no way out of here. I either have to go through that way, which may lead to a crawl space not big enough for me to fit through, or I need to go back through all the hell that we went through to get here. And neither of which I'm kind of torn on which direction to go. I'm really right down the middle. My instinct is saying to press on because we have to probably be nearing the end. But my experience is telling me there's no guarantees. You don't know if you're going to be able to get out, especially with material blockages. If I come across a blockage big enough that I can't get through or past it, I'm SOL. As much as I don't want to go back, I at least know I can make it out that way. But this is a first for me where I've ever been underground in a culvert passageway system where I almost feel trapped. I don't feel claustrophobic, like I said. I'm not concerned about that. But knowing that I don't have an easy, direct way out is concerning. If the crap was to hit the fan, I could probably go to one of the manhole covers that are lower and just give it all I have and push it up and get out and hope for the best. I really don't want to do that, but that is probably my worst case scenario. It stinks down here now too, but the air meter is showing good air. Nothing else is registering. It's just a kind of foul odor of faint sewer. What would you do if you're in this spot? I feel like no matter which direction I go right now, it's not going to be the right direction. I'm not worried, which is good. I don't panic, but I do think in the moment and think about possible what ifs. I think we're going to press ahead. I'm going to show you the debris pile. We'll get past it. The pipe looks relatively clear, but it's probably no higher than this space here. So I'm still going to be walking through hunched over. But there is a small glimmer of hope that it could open up into a much larger pipe or cavity or something where I could stand up once again and or walk out of here without having to crawl. But I look like I've literally been living in the sewers. I am a literal mess. I mean, I think that's spiderweb on me, possibly. I've had cave crickets crawling on me. I've had rebar falling on my back. It's been quite a journey so far. I'm not trying to prolong this longer than necessary, but I wouldn't be doing it justice if I skipped out all this, didn't let you know how I was feeling in real time, and show you what you have to encounter in an environment like this. This is definitely not my favorite one by any means, but as I mentioned, it's one of the most unique. Well, here's the aforementioned debris pile. Tunnel is right behind it. So this doesn't look all too bad. I just have to make sure I don't get any sticks poking into my knees or glass that I can't see. So I'm gonna get my bag through, make my way through, and probably get you guys last, so just hang tight. That was not easy, but we made it. I did notice this though. There's a screen here. It's mesh, catching material. So I don't know what the purpose is of that other than just to screen out any blockages or debris, but that is pretty bad right there. So they have plastic encased in concrete, and we're gonna go for it. Now I just had, look at the water line, that debris. Water would be up to my neck right now. That's a lot of water. My heart is racing. Once again, with my experience and intuition, I think I made the right call. We just came from right there. This is a secondary pipe that we walked through. I went through that first one after the blockage. There was a gap where I was able to stand up by a manhole cover, catch my breath, come through here, which has ended back to stone. But the good thing is I can stand up again. And this is much older workings. This is what I'm used to. And there's, as I was explaining before, how everything was in great condition, there's a lot of rock fall on the ground. And there's some highlighted paint and areas that look like they have been rehabbed. So this place has been undergoing inspections and repairs, and that's why I think we're looking at here. This pipe is not original. The concrete work right there looks fresh. So these two sections were probably in really rough shape, and they had to, I'm guessing, excavate from the surface, lower these in, seal them with concrete, and then seal the top once again. So without any confirmation of that, that's what it's looking like anyways. But this is looking more promising. Not only are we back to more ancient workings in the passageway, I'm just extremely thankful I could stand up once again. And I'm actually sitting here in water. My feet anyways, I'm sitting on a rock. Kind of feels good to let them soak into cooler water. Haven't come across any real wildlife as far as fish, tadpoles. I've seen a couple dead worms, tons of cave crickets and spiders, but nothing like aquatic wise. And thankfully, no snakes. So look at that reflection. How cool is that? If you look on the roof of the wall there, let's see if I can make it ripple more. Yeah, look at that. Oh, the simple pleasures in life that make me happy. Needless to say, we have come so far now. Unless I am physically blocked and cannot fit through the exit, I think regardless how small or big it is, I need to come out the other end. There's no way I could understandably see myself going back through everything that we went through, both the good and the bad. I think it'd be like a mental breakdown for me because it was rough, not gonna lie. This has been tough on me, but hopefully you are appreciating my efforts, enjoying the commentary along the way, both the good and the bad, and allow me to show you what the journey and experience is like from one opening, hopefully, to another. 100% this is repair work right here. You can see they outlined in fluorescent pink where they need to shore it up, and they basically put some concrete plaster material to kind of lock everything into place. But it is a nice curved arch. There's a modern screw right there. There's a few of them actually down here, screws. I have to watch my head. There's a few pipes sticking out. But for the most part, I mean, this is pretty old. Maybe some of the oldest section we've been through so far. But they must have had men carrying materials down here to mix concrete on site. Either that or they had like a spray material. Whew. It's getting a little bit more exciting now, at least, instead of dreadful. Oh, there's a big overhead cast iron pipe going right across. You know what, this tunnel has given me some vague memories of two other tunnels I've been in. One that goes under the city of Scranton, which we're not too far from, and it had older working like this that opened up in a neighborhood in a creek bed behind a restaurant. Some of you know which one that is. And it also resembles a water tunnel in a different county that I explored with a couple of friends, where we were underneath the town and had passageways just like this. I don't want to give them away, but if you have been an avid watcher of my videos, especially this type of content, you most likely do know what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to press ahead a little bit more. I want to kind of scope it out before we go any further. Make sure this is worth continuing on, but I'm pretty sure, have a pretty good feeling we're going to be okay. I don't know if you can see it on me. There's daylight right here. There's a manhole cover with little holes in it, and two pipes facing each other where water would drain into here. Oh, another pipe right there too. Yeah, this is some old workings. Oh, is that what I think it is? I hope my mind's not playing tricks with me. What I see up ahead. Oh, let's go there together. I don't want to get overly excited if I'm wrong, but I think that is what I was looking for. Just to show you, that's where we came from. That's looking at the corrugated pipe. We haven't gone all that far, But look what is ahead. Beyond more stones and dirt and water. You want to know what I see? Of course you do. I see daylight. That is our exit. We're able to walk out of here in one piece. That one's plugged up solid with stone. You won't believe the sense of relief I have knowing I don't need to backtrack through everything and that I made calculated and correct and a little bit luck on my side of decision making, because if this didn't pan out like this, it would have been a real blow mentally, knowing that I have to go back through everything. So we have some different elements here. So obviously we came through all stone right there. This looks like a spray foam or concrete, spray concrete maybe, or a stucco. Looks like they sprayed it over the existing stone. Looks like it may have been a repair area right there. It's completely smooth compared to the rest of it. And if you don't like spiders, like I said, you won't like it down here. Where are we coming out at? I don't know where the heck we are. You're not going to believe what we're under. I checked it briefly when I set you guys up there. I'm completely shocked of where we are right now. Although I don't know physically where we are in the city, but just above me, I did not see that coming. So what's above us? Well, covering the external portal of this culvert passageway is someone's freaking home. I can't believe it. Their home is built over this opening here. I'm not talking too loudly because that's their floor of probably their living room or something. How freaking bizarre. And that's looking where we just came from. I mean, this looks like from a medieval castle, secret tunnel passageway. What a freaking experience. I am so cobwebs were in my, well, I don't have hair, but they were on my head. This was one hell of an experience. I'm gonna collect myself for a few minutes, check my GPS to find out where I am. I might even be in a different town and find out how far away we are from where we started. So just hang on a little bit longer. I'll give you those details. Yep, we did that. We exited right beneath that home. Unfreaking real. And you know what? Look at it. If I kept following the water stream, there's like an obstacle course here. There's like little bridges and platforms here. I think this is someone's personal residence and it's fenced off, but the creek, the stream bed, flows directly through here. And we came out just up there. So where am I? How far did we go? Where did we come out? Check GPS. We are still in the same town of where I started. We are approximately 4 blocks away. We obviously didn't go in a straight line. We went through some different angles. So I had to go a couple different blocks in different directions. And we went just under a mile. It felt significantly longer, but we made really slow progress. And it felt like an eternity. But I'm kind of in a not so good area with the business here and people looking at me. So let's get to a better area or back to where we started. And I'll share a few additional thoughts. Oh, it is so good to be back. You have no idea how good it feels to be able to walk out of that system. And no word to lie, I look like I crawled out of a sewer. I kind of feel like it too, especially with the smell in a few areas. And I had to walk through a relatively upscale neighborhood. Some of the neighbors or residents were looking at me like I pretty much crawled out of a sewer. I am filthy. I probably stink. My knees are cut up. I got cobwebs on me. I got sweat and all other kinds of gunk on my head. But what a freaking experience. A couple quick things just to mention is, for one, was I underprepared? Absolutely. Am I filthy? Yes, I am. Would I do that again? No, I'd rather not. That was just downright miserable at points. But without all the lows and the parts of me complaining, I wouldn't be able to experience the highs. Not only the high roof, but the high of being able to trust my instincts and judgment and walk out of that underground passage system. At no point was I panicked or freaked out or thought I was trapped down there. There were moments though where I was worried and concerned if I was making the right call moving forward. And based on my experience, my judgment, my instincts, and a little bit of luck, I made the right calls. I could have turned around much earlier and said, you know what, it's not worth it. But I knew, I didn't know. I was hopeful that if I pressed on, there would be a reward at the end. And there's always a chance that could have been plugged up solid where I couldn't have got out and I had to retreat all the way back or go through a manhole cover. But all I can say is that it worked out the best way it could have. Without a doubt, one of the most unique culvert passageway systems I've ever explored. I severely, severely underestimated it. Not only the entrance to it, but the conditions inside. At the air meter, air was perfectly fine. It was above 20 the entire time. Knee pads would have helped, but it wouldn't have helped with the low hunched over areas. That beat me up the most. It was hard on my legs, hard on my lungs. I had to stop a lot, and I was down underground for over 2 hours. So it was slow, without a doubt. I know back in the older days, I would have moved much faster. I still would have complained, but I would have moved much faster. But this shows me I can still do it. You know, I'm not retired. I'm not too old. I'm a little bit slower, rightfully so. A little bit out of shape with lung capacity, but I can improve upon that if I was to do more of these. But I just want to give a special thanks to the inside tip from the person who did notify me of this. I think it was last year. You know who you are. Hopefully you see the video. Hopefully I did it justice. If you do know where it is, please don't share it down below. But if you have been through here, you know what's involved. And if you thought about wanting to explore something like this, would you do this one? I wouldn't do it again unless I was paid to do it probably, or I was forced to do it. But I do have other culverts in store for the remainder of 2026. Ones that I know I could stand up in, and some of them you could probably even fit a semi-trailer in. So that's good news for me. So if you enjoy these, there's more of them on the way. I kind of go in spurts with my videos. I do a couple of the similar things at a time, move on to something else, and then circle back to it. So you may or may not have already seen a culvert type video before this one, and you probably will see one or more too coming up in the near future. But anyways, I need a good power washing. I feel nasty. I'm tired. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. But it's an experience unlike I've ever had in quite a long time. And like I said, hopefully you appreciate the efforts and the experience and the highs and the lows of exploring something that went underneath a literal neighborhood, combing roughly 4 blocks and just under a mile of unique passageways, exiting beneath a literal home. Pretty awesome experience overall. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.